Hello everyone. War is a tariff which is popular these days on the news. What is a tariff? So I'll explain tariff in a very simple language. So it is a tool used by the government to control import. If the government wants to control import, it puts tariff in it. For example, let's take an example. There is a restaurant owner who imports Chinese bread for burger. So he imports the Chinese bread for $1. The profit margin kept by the owner, the profit that the owner keeps for himself is $5. Now the total price of the burger becomes $6. Easy. Now come here. Now the tariff has been imposed by the government. So the imported Chinese bread is again, that is for $1, same. Profit margin kept is $5, same, but the tariff by the government is $3. Now the final price of the burger is $9. Earlier the total price of the burger was $6, but due to imposition of tariff of $3 extra, the final price of the burger goes up to $9. So in a conclusion, in a simple answer, that is tariff increases the price of the product and discourages the businessman and the customers both to stop importing products. Now the price is increased. Now the customers will not buy this burger because the price has been increased, and the businessman, the restaurant owner, will not import this burger because price has goes up. So it simultaneously discourages both customers and both the businessmen to stop importing a specific product from a specific country. For example, here we are importing from China. Easy. So the next point. Why someone imports? We have seen importing, but why someone imports? For example, here a restaurant owner, he was importing the bread from China. Then why someone imports? Quality of the imported product is good. If the local bread in USA is not that good compared to the Chinese one, then the restaurant owner will import best quality bread for the burger. Price of the imported product is cheap. For example, he imported it for $1, kept profit margin $5, and the final price is $6, and the customer will get this burger at $6. But what is in the local case? The local bread seller was selling him as $5. He'll keep the margin as $5. Now $10 is the final price of the burger, and customer will get this burger as $10. This is the difference, the $4 difference. The local bread seller was selling him at $5, and the Chinese seller was selling him the bread at just $1. And that is why the restaurant owner has decided to go for the Chinese burger. Second, historical relations. If the historical relation between two countries is not that good, then we don't generally encourage. We do not encourage the product of that country to get into our country. If we do not like Mexico in some aspect, then we will put tariffs on Mexico so that Mexican products do not come in United States. Second, convenient. I was discussing about why someone imports. Historical relation. Okay, this is this old topic, big pardon. Why someone imports? Because of the historical relations. If the historical relation between two countries is good, then you import. Easy. Second, convenient. If your neighboring country, if suppose you are somewhere down at the bordering state, this is the country, this is the boundary, this is the border of a country, and this is another country. You are staying here, this is your house, or this is your restaurant. Now in your country, this is your country, in your country the bread seller is at this location, but the bread seller of this neighboring country is very close. Easy. So in that logic, this distance is much more compared to the short distance. So the restaurant owner will prefer the short distance of the neighboring country rather than the long distance in his own country. So in case of convenience, If the neighboring country is more convenient, then the restaurant owner will tend to import the bread from the neighboring country. Easy? Next, less demand or no waiting line. If we go to the local bread seller, there are a lot of restaurant owners are waiting to get a single bread. So there is a waiting list. But in the foreign product, in suppose example of Chinese products, there is less demand in the bread. Why there is less demand in the bread? Because in China, people generally do not consume bread. They have other diet to follow. So all the breads are produced in China. There is no demand for bread because people don't consume bread. So when you get from USA, from America, you will easily get bread in quick days. But if you go to the local seller, there is a lot of demand. So in that logic, if less demand or no waiting, less demand or no waiting line, people tend to import from nearby countries. Seeking other perks. If you are importing bread, this is your country and this is your neighboring country, and you are importing bread from the neighboring country, and the neighboring country says there is sauce free given with the bread. So along with bread, there are some other perks available there. So you are importing bread, but you are getting sauce for free. That's why you like to import rather than going to your local bread seller. Second, customers' demand. The customers going to a specific restaurant, if they like consuming the Chinese product, if they like consuming the Chinese bread, then restaurant owner doesn't have any option left with it. He has to import the Chinese bread because the staple customers, they are liking the Chinese bread. Is it? Or it's a personal choice. If you yourself like the Chinese bread, or if you yourself like the neighboring bread, then it's your personal choice, then you import. Is it? So this was why people import, why someone imports. There was the reason that I've explained you why someone imports. Next, then why the government puts tariff in it? Easy. Then why the government put tariffs in it? To promote the local seller. Earlier, you used to import, the restaurant owner used to import the bread from China, but now by putting tariff, you have made the Chinese bread expensive. Now the restaurant owner has no option rather to go to the local seller, because the Chinese import has been blocked by the government, and now the owner of the restaurant will go to the local bread seller. Easy. To promote the local seller, sometimes government put tariff. Or diplomatic relations. Sometimes due to diplomatic relations, suppose there is a bread seller from other country, he is giving you bread, and you are giving him money. Now in this money, the neighboring country is using for terrorism. And that is why the government had decided to stop importing from that country, so that they could not use this earned money in terrorism. Easy. So this can be a diplomatic reason. Or if you want to torture someone's economy, then also government put tariffs in it. Encourage local businessmen, that I have already discussed here. Encourage local businessmen. And sometimes it is national emotion. Easy. Suppose a country who is not able to produce a cheap burger is a notion of shame. So the political leaders, they try to play with your national emotion, try to play with the jingoistic emotion that in our country we are capable enough to produce the bread at cheaper price, we are capable enough to sell the burger at cheaper price, we are capable enough to produce good quality burgers. So sometimes the political leaders, they play with national emotion. Easy. Second, self-sufficient economy. If the country doesn't want to be relied upon someone, like in case USA for bread is relying upon China. So if USA decides that we are not going to rely upon China for a single piece of bread, we want to be self-sufficient, our economy should be self-sufficient. In this case, they will cancel the import and USA start to produce the bread on its own. Easy. Or lethal products. What are lethal products? Like drugs. the drugs which is not good for human health, not good for human health, but still all the people are importing it. In that case, government will put tariff so that drugs become costlier, and people cannot afford the drugs, and they'll get relief of the drug abuse. Okay, so in case of lethal products also, to make the lethal product even more higher, government puts tariff in it. Or situation demand. If the demand of the situation is like that, if the current situation is like that, that you are compulsive enough to put tariff on it, you do not have any choice left with other than to put tariff in it, then the government also puts tariff depending upon situation. So depending upon situation, government puts two types of tariff. One is specific tariff, and another one is percentage tariff. So what is specific tariff? Specific tariff is a fixed tariff system. Suppose you are importing a t-shirt. The price of t-shirt is $200. Now government puts tariff in it, $3 tariff. Now the final price of the t-shirt will be $203. Easy. So this is a specific style of tariff. Now what is percentage tariff? Earlier in specific tariff, the tariff was fixed of $3, but in percentage tariff, it will be in percentage term. Suppose the price of the imported t-shirt is $200. Now this will be percentage. Suppose the tariff is 10% of t-shirt. Suppose 10% of 200 will be $20. So the final price will be $220. Easy. Sometimes you must have 50% tariff. So what is 50% tariff? Price of the imported t-shirt is $200. 50% tariff. 50% of 200 is what? Half of 200. That is $100. So the final price of the t-shirt will be $300. It has become expensive. It has become costlier. So these are two styles of tariff imposed by government. Or you find a better alternative. Earlier USA, suppose for example, earlier USA was importing from China. Now they have found a better alternative from India. Now they're importing India. Now they're encouraging import from India, and they're discouraging import from China, and that is why they put a tariff on China. Easy. If you found a better alternative, then we put the tariff on the older one and we encourage the newer one. Easy. So next, positive effect of the tariff, and in the next session we will discuss negative effect of tariff. So what is the positive effect of a tariff? The positive effect of a tariff is protection of the national economy from getting flooded with cheap products. For example, Harley Davidson case. Once upon a time, Harley Davidson has a stiff competition with the Japanese automobile sectors. These Japanese companies like Yamaha, Suzuki, Honda, they were giving cheap automobiles. They were providing cheap motorcycles, cheap bikes, and all the customers, they left Harley Davidson, and they went for this Honda, Suzuki, Yamaha. They moved towards these Japanese cheap motorcycles, and suddenly Harley Davidson complained to the government that we are suffering huge loss because our customers have moved towards the Japanese. And now the USA government put heavy tariff on this Japanese car makers, Japanese automobile makers, and the price of the Japanese automobile sector, it went high. And as the price went high, all the customers who once went to Japanese, they came back to original Harley, because now Harley is cheaper and now Japanese are costlier. So in such kind of scenarios, the positive effect of tariffs are seen, and it protects the national economy from getting flooded with cheap product, like we have seen in the example of Harley Davidson. Then what is the negative effect? What is the negative effect of tariff? There are also negative effect of tariffs because the customer is only sufferer. Like for example, like in the earlier example, we were importing Chinese bread for $1, profit margin is $5, and the final price is $6. Now this system has been collapsed. Now this system has been disrupted by tariff by the government. Now the restaurant owner has no option. Now the restaurant owner will go to the local bread seller. And what is the price of the local bread seller? It was already high, and as the price of the local bread seller was high, the person was importing, but now the import system has been disrupted. Now what is the price? $5 was local price, $5 profit margin, because no one will compromise on his profit margin. No businessman is going to compromise on his earning, on his money. So profit will be fixed. No one is going to compromise on the profit. So in the local seller, it is $5. $5 is profit. The final price will be $10. Earlier we used to get in $6. Now due to extra tariff, we have no option rather than to move to the local seller, and in the local seller system we have $10, so $4 extra, and this $4 extra will be paid by the customer. And that is why negative effect of tariff says the customer is the sufferer in a tariff system, because the extra amount that is cleared, the extra amount that has been created here is paid by the customer. And sometimes those who criticize tariff system, they say it a hidden extortion or hidden tax. Like if the government says we were going to start a burger tax, one day government says we will start a burger tax. What is a burger tax? Earlier you used to get a burger in $10, now you will get $3 tax, so the final price will be $13. People will revolt. What rubbish is this? What is a burger tax? We are citizens of your country. We are not going to pay any rubbish tax, any bullshit tax. There is nothing called burger tax. Easy. So in that case, if the government imposes any burger tax, any rubbish tax, people will revolt. People will complain. But if the government indirectly puts tariffs and increase the price of the burger, then people are ready to buy it. So it is an indirect extortion. It is a hidden extortion or hidden tax, in an indirect form of taxing, because ultimately the customer has to pay the increased extra $4 that has been increased due to your tariff system, because the citizen has not decided to put tariff. The government has decided to put tariff. So by putting the tariff by the government, citizens are suffering, customers are suffering, and that is why people complain it. People call it hidden extortion or hidden tax. So this was the video. If you like my video, then please subscribe my channel and comment down below what more economic and finance topic that you want, so that you need a simple explanation in simple language. I'll definitely make a video on that. So stay tuned. Thank you for your precious time. Thank you for your good time. Stay tuned for upcoming more videos. Thank you very much.